Yo, it's your boy, the C to the Y, the G to the Y, Cherry Jerry Baby. And for today's special podcast episode, we are going to be doing a podcast about Star Wars 5. Now, speaking about Star Wars, I will be at Ayala 30th from April 29th and April 30th. I'll be cosplaying as Yoda. So if you see Yoda and just so happens to be me, don't be a stranger. Please say hello. I'm so excited to do much more cosplay events as Yoda. Now, going back, I have a very special guest with me. He's a fellow Star Wars fan and is the greatest Philippine professional wrestler to have ever lived. I'm talking about the classical Bryan Leoth.
Hello. Glad to be back, bro.
Glad to have you back, man. Alright, man, let's do this. Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, baby.
When you actually explore the backgrounds of some of these characters in the films, it's interesting stuff, man.
Are you happy with the current direction of Star Wars, though?
I think it's just one of those things that's starting to get milked out a little too much nowadays. To be honest with you, there are times it has its highs and lows, like with most franchises. The original trilogy, they're great. The prequel trilogy, I did not like the first two movies that much as a kid. I appreciate them a little more now because of the lore, but really I only enjoyed the third one. And the sequel trilogy, it's divisive for a good reason, I feel. But if we're talking about the franchise as a whole, like the novels and whatnot, again, I think I enjoyed a lot of the lore that the novels developed back then. But the problem is it's not canon anymore. It's basically fan fiction in some ways nowadays.
It's funny that you mentioned that because check this out. You will get Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon sometimes in special appearances, cameos, and whatever, but you will never get a full-on Liam Neeson Qui-Gon mini-series. It's not happening. You will never get it because of that specific reason. It's milked out too much.
And this was his point of view.
That's what he specifically pointed out. It's too overdone that the magic of Star Wars per se is somewhat
diminished in some ways.
Well, I forgot the specific word that he used, but maybe you can say that yes, diminished. Yeah. But to be safe, I would say more like, you know.
I feel you.
It's done too much.
Yeah, it's too meh.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, what do you think about Luke Skywalker?
He was actually a great character. You know, like if we're talking about the original trilogy, he was a really great character that was developed really nicely.
Yeah.
Especially in the third movie, I really loved his development in the third movie.
Yeah.
Okay, or technically the sixth movie, depending on how you look at it, alright?
Okay.
But I think he was overshadowed just because Han Solo was a lot cooler. You know, had more of a bad boy edge to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? We can accept that Han Solo overshadowed Luke in a lot of ways.
And the lack of sword skills doesn't help. Because Han Solo was a pretty good gunsman, to say the very least. Yeah. And then when you see Luke Skywalker's fight scenes, he's just flinging that sword around and stuff.
I felt there was a lot of dramatic effect to the way they did the lightsaber duels in the original trilogy. Like, there was more drama to it, there is more emotion put into it, you know. When you go look at the prequel trilogy, it's just all over the place, beautifully choreographed for the sake of being beautifully choreographed. You know what I mean?
It's funny how Luke Skywalker's lack of swordsman skills added meaning and drama.
Meaning, exactly, and to me that matters more.
Yeah.
Like if you compare the final fight between Luke and Darth Vader in comparison to most of the duels in the prequel trilogy, great as they are to watch, as awesome as the music makes it sound, if you take away the background music, you can see there's a lot of emotion in the Luke fight in comparison to the one that Anakin was having.
I'm probably one of those few that had pointed that out. That's why George Lucas thought it would be cool to have Anakin do all the flippy stuff and all the swordsman stuff, and Yoda being CGI all the way.
Now that made perfect sense because if you look at the timelines and the way they did it, there is no way Luke would have been able to learn all the skills his father did as a duelist. Because the Jedi were killed, right?
Yeah.
They were all killed and he had to learn from a very old Yoda, right? Whereas in the prequel trilogy, everybody got proper training.
Okay.
Yeah, so it made sense. I prefer the original trilogy's lightsaber duels simply because there was more emotion to what they were doing.
What do you think about Mark Hamill's work throughout the years?
Iconic.
Iconic.
I mean, many times I'm watching a show, I didn't even know it was him that was doing the voice work. Like, I really loved him, of course, in Batman as the Joker. You know, he's probably the definitive Joker voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really loved him in this show, you know, the regular show. He voiced multiple characters, including Skips, and sometimes you don't even recognize it's him. I don't remember him doing anything live action other than The Kingsman, which was very recently.
Ironic about Kingsman is that he actually was in the Kingsman via comics. Kingsman was a comics series back then, and it had Mark Hamill being Mark Hamill.
That's interesting. That's why they casted him.
Yeah, that's why they casted him.
That
Yeah.
is really awesome.
Yeah, it gave us like a full circle between the comics and the movie. What do you think about the planet Hoth?
This was the first one, right, where everything was so cold and there was snow everywhere.
Yeah.
It was different from episode 4, so that was a nice way to open the movie. So I liked it.
It was a very, very frustrating experience filming that because it was the biggest snowstorm ever at that time.
So they actually filmed it during a snowstorm.
Yeah, they filmed it during a snowstorm and it got so bad that one day Mark Hamill had to like walk through the snow all by himself while the crew was just inside the motel or the hotel or whatever, all nice and warm and stuff, while the camera guy was just filming Mark Hamill off the window.
That's dedication. The force was strong with Mark, huh?
It was. What do you think about the Wampas?
They were better than the Gungans.
Believe it or not, I'm just glad that the actor for Jar Jar managed to have his saving grace,
His redemption of
his
sorts,
redemption, yeah, where he was the guy who saved Grogu from Order 66.
Did the actor get trolled on because of his performance in the prequel trilogy, by the way?
Trolled out is putting it lightly.
And that's why I say that's really unfair.
It was.
It was unfair. The guy was doing a job. Okay, he was doing a job that was written and directed for him, you know. I don't see why he had to take a lot of heat for that.
Yeah.
You know, that it's not his fault that the movie didn't turn out that great,
Yeah.
in a lot of people's opinions. I felt he was okay. You know, back then I thought he was entertaining, even though people don't like Jar Jar Binks. I don't know. But I liked him as a kid.
Would you want to ride a Tauntaun?
Yes.
Okay. For me, I don't want to ride a Tauntaun. It's because my privates might swollen.
You're a weird guy, Cherry.
You know, when you're riding horses or
Put a saddle
Tauntauns,
on, bro. That's why you put a saddle on.
it would hurt just as much.
Oh, it would not.
Dude, I rode horses in Baguio, and I'm telling you right now, it hurts.
Okay.
As much as I don't like to ride cars because of car sickness and motion sickness, I would rather choose a car over a Tauntaun.
I'd rather ride a car over a horse, but I still want to ride a horse every now and then, you know? Why not?
Well, I'm a YouTuber, and for the sake of the views and for the sake of the content, I might just ride a Tauntaun once, but it's something that I would genuinely not prefer.
Okay, well, regardless, there's no Tauntaun in this galaxy. You know? So, whatever.
What do you think about Leia?
I had a big crush on her as a kid.
Okay.
Princess Leia, especially when she was wearing the slave outfit.
Okay.
I don't know. The character was one of those times where it was a very well written, strong female lead, you know? The thing is, I really wish they got to explore whether or not she had stronger link to the Force than Luke did.
You're gonna have to watch the shitty sequel for that.
The sequel trilogy?
Yes.
Did they clarify that?
Yes.
I don't think they did. They so she
No,
had
no,
more.
they didn't. They didn't clarify that. They showed that. They outright just showed it. Leia has showed her strength in the Force in ways that you would just question how powerful she really is. So I'll just let you decide for yourself how strong Leia is based on her performance throughout the sequel trilogy. But to outright say that the directors, the writers clarified whether or not Leia is stronger in the Force than Luke, I don't know. That's for you to decide.
I wanted to make it clear to anyone listening. I did not watch The Rise of Skywalker just yet.
Okay.
It's something I haven't really gotten to doing for a number of reasons.
I'm one of the few people who finds it to be decent, to be okay, to be not bad. But 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, they are better, especially with Rey becoming a Skywalker.
I think the main issue is that when they made the 9th movie, they undid so much of what the 8th movie did, make it completely useless, which was to me a problem because when you looked at the original trilogy, all 3 movies had different directors, but the thing is, each director did not try to undo what the previous movie did. They carried on with the story and added their own elements to it.
Okay.
That's the reason why the J.J. Abrams' 3rd film failed. It refused to acknowledge what happened in The Last Jedi, or at least just brushed through it, which I felt was unfair. If you weren't so confident about it, why didn't you come back for the second movie then? You should just carry on from there and try to improve things.
What I find very, very petty about the reason why fans do not like Star Wars 9 is because they brought back Palpatine.
That was interesting.
I find it very petty because it's like they're blaming Star Wars 9 to suck. It's because Star Wars 9 defeats the purpose of Star Wars 1 to 6, which was destroy Palpatine. People are forgetting that in the comics, Palpatine did body transferring, where he transferred his old body to new bodies.
Yeah, but most people don't read the comics.
Yeah, but body transferring, it happens, It's something that is been done in the past, so I don't see the reason why can't body transferring still happen in other movies,
You have to take note, a lot of fans of the original trilogy and whatnot were not pleased with the sequel trilogy in general. So a lot of them might just be looking to hate for the sake of hating. There's always that.
That's all I've been trying to say, Brian. Like you said, these fans, they need to chill.
Yeah, but it happens. I personally am one of the people who enjoyed The Last Jedi for what it was. I get it's flawed, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Personally, I loved it. I wasn't happy with a lot of the storytelling choices, but I could see the merits of what was presented in the film. When people watch that film, so many of the fandom are so toxic. When they watch it, they treat it so poorly. They insult cast members online and whatnot as if these cast members took their cereal on Christmas Day. We do not own this franchise. We don't own the franchise. We did not create the franchise.
Yeah.
And the actors portraying the parts do not owe us anything. They are doing jobs. It's their jobs. Do not message them privately or publicly telling them you're gonna kill their kids or kill them or whatever. What you like might not be what I like either.
Oh.
Chill. Okay, chill.
I remember when that happened to Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, that was messed up. How was that his fault?
It was just a kid.
It was a kid, man. He got bullied in grade school all the way throughout high school.
Yeah.
Maybe even in college, And when I saw an interview with him, like many years ago, and he looked so depressed and so out of shape and whatnot. You could tell the kid was traumatized.
Yeah.
And all he did was take a job.
Now, we're probably going to get hated for our answers for this. It's like, damn you if you think this way, damn if you don't think this way, but whatever. I'll ask it anyway. Given the destruction of Alderaan, spoiler alert, Alderaan gets destroyed in Star Wars 4, but we're talking about Star Wars 5, so whatever. Do you consider Princess Leia still a princess? And if you still do, what is she the princess of?
Technically, yeah, I guess you could claim she was a princess of Alderaan. That's not a lie. But what is she a princess of now? In the sequel trilogy, well, she wasn't a queen anymore or princess or whatever, right? What was her title again?
She was general.
Yeah, she was no longer a princess or queen. She was general now. So we got our answer.
It's probably one of the petty reasons why they hate the sequel. Because they made her general. Wow.
But you just made a good point, though. What is she a princess of now?
Yeah.
The planet is destroyed.
I just had to ask because Han Solo still refers to her as Your Highness.
Probably as
or Your Worshipness.
Probably out of respect or out of being Han.
You saw the relationship between them when Han Solo was leaving, right? Han, we still need you. You're a great captain and a leader and stuff. But, do we need? But do you need?
I still love that line that he had with Leia, that moment he had when he was about to be carbonated, right? Yeah, he was about to be put in carbonite or whatever.
Yeah.
Carbonated. Put in carbonite. And then Leia goes, I love you. And Han goes, I know. And then that was the last line in the film for him. That was just such a cool thing to do.
Apparently, George Lucas couldn't handle the stress anymore of doing Star Wars. It's just no way, it's not happening. He's not going to be the director. So what he did was he went to his film directing professor to direct Star Wars 5 for him.
Wow, that was his professor?
That was his professor.
Wow, okay.
And now the professor couldn't figure out how to make that moment good.
Yeah.
So the director said, I don't care anymore what you're gonna do. Just do it and just be Han Solo.
Yeah.
And how Han Solo would answer it. Yo.
So Harrison Ford ad-libbed that.
Ad-libbed.
He is the greatest, man. Because that was epic. People would probably say, I love you too. Or whatever, and it would be emotional and a little corny. But when he did that, that was just so unexpected. And it was just before disaster was about to happen, So it brightened the mood for a split second before it broke everyone's hearts when he got frozen. It's awesome.
It was,
That's
yes.
probably my favorite moment in the whole film.
Given that moment and their whole tenure together, we can even go past Star Wars 6 if you want. What do you think about their chemistry together? Leia and Han Solo.
They were great. I liked how an odd couple developed so well throughout the movie. Because in the first movie, there was kind of a love triangle of sorts, I guess. Like, it looked like they were gonna make Luke, ironically, Leia's love interest eventually, at one point. But as it went on, it was quite obvious it had to be Han and Leia. As nice as it was to make Luke and Leia brother and sister, this was a flaw with the sixth movie, in my opinion. Having Leia kiss Luke in the mouth in the fifth movie was whoops.
Some Pornhub level stuff.
Yeah, that was weird because again, we didn't know they were brother and sister, and obviously they didn't either in the fifth movie. But for them to find out in the sixth movie, I was like, wait a second, they kissed. Those two kissed open mouth, I think. Whoops.
Well, Luke had worse in his mouth, so let's leave this topic to Pornhub.
That stuff could have been a delicacy in other places,
He had worse in his mouth.
I'm just saying that could have been a delicacy in other places.
Yeah, I'll keep my thoughts. I'll not say. Okay, what do you think about Han Solo?
Great character. I think a lot of what you call characters that came after him were trying to imitate what Han Solo or Harrison Ford did in the Star Wars films. Many of them do it well, many of them don't, because that character basically was the foundation of many other characters that came after him, like Star-Lord. That's basically what would happen if they made Han Solo the chosen one. You watched The Mummy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what would happen if Han Solo was the lead too, was the romantic lead at the forefront of a franchise. Rick O'Connell was a Han Solo who hunted down mummies.
What do you think about Harrison Ford's work throughout the years?
Incredible, man. The guy is just one of the definitive action stars and leading men. And he's not just an action star, the guy can act really well, Like, he's an actor first, action star second. I really loved him in the Star Wars movies. I loved him in that film Air Force One. And he's done a lot of iconic characters. Like, there's Han Solo, Indiana Jones. He was a lead in Blade Runner. Honestly, I'm really glad that he's had such a great career and he's still doing it at such a high level too. Yeah, it's a real shame he never won an Oscar for Best Actor or anything like that, but his work speaks for itself.
It's bittersweet, actually, that one of his most iconic roles had a huge influence on Star Wars.
How is it bittersweet?
Check this out. Out of hate with all the backstage drama going on for Star Wars, George Lucas brought his Indiana Jones brainchild to the competition and casted Harrison Ford as the lead. He really just couldn't catch a break with Star Wars 5. That's why he kicked himself out of all these film unions and whatever, because apparently he got in trouble for playing all the credits on the end and not in the beginning and the end.
Yeah, I just realized that's very true. He never had opening credits. It was always a prologue of what happened before the film, right?
Apparently it wasn't a big deal on the fourth, but they made it a big deal in Star Wars 5.
Why?
It's because it's not cool. You gotta run some credits at the start of the film because the Writers Guild and whatever. It was important for them to always do that. Because apparently, who stays for the credits?
Nowadays, everyone should. But I don't know. I mean, to me, if the film is good, you finish the credits to pay respect to the film. That's my opinion.
These days, we do stay for the credits. It's because of the after credits that the MCU made a tradition of.
Exactly. I mean, they didn't start it, but they made it sort of a norm.
Yeah, they made it a thing. And it all paid off in the end because Indiana Jones eventually went back to where he belongs. And it is with Star Star Wars. Disney, they own Indiana
full
Jones.
circle.
They own Star Wars. They all
circle,
went
yeah.
back together where they belong. And that's why in the comics, there was actually a point in time where Chewbacca meets Indiana Jones. Apparently, Han Solo crashed the Millennium Falcon into Earth and he died. Years later, Chewbacca got old and he became Bigfoot or Sasquatch, and then Indiana Jones had a crossover with Chewbacca, an older Chewbacca.
And did Chewie think he was Han?
He probably thought it was Han.
Is Indiana Jones more iconic than Han Solo?
That's actually a very, very difficult question.
I was always wondering, because you need to know, I never watched an Indiana Jones film, ever. But of course I'm familiar, it's iconic. But I always wondered who was more popular when it comes to pop culture. Is it Han Solo, because of the lore of Star Wars, or is it Indiana Jones?
All I can say is this. The reason why it was so important for me to get the 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back Bespin Han Solo figure is because of Indiana Jones's new movie bound to come
I'm
out.
excited for that.
I'm so excited for that. Yes, I did not get Han Solo initially because of price issues, but I had to somewhat be more driven to get it at this point in time because of the new movie coming out. I'll let you people in the comments interpret it however you wish, and feel free to also let us know in the comments who you find to be more iconic. Is it Han Solo or is it Indiana Jones? But yeah, it is quite unfortunate how things had to go with the making of Indiana Jones.
Well, fortunate for the people who worked on Indiana Jones, obviously. Unfortunate for Fox.
The backstage drama surrounding Indiana Jones just keeps on coming. Cause check this out. Harrison Ford had to kick out Shia LaBeouf from the sequel of Indiana Jones.
Why?
Why? Here's why. Because Shia LaBeouf belittled his performance as Harrison Ford's kid in Indiana Jones. And then Harrison Ford was like, "You dumb motherfucker. You don't do that. You don't belittle your own character. You just fake it till you make it. You own up to it, whatever. And you just don't belittle it."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's his way of thinking.
Oh, well,
that's
Shia's toxic.
Shia LaBeouf is out. The goddaughter is in.
I'm all for that. Shia's too toxic, I think.
You think so?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, if you're gonna make false accusations about your father to get sympathy, you're a toxic person.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just genuinely glad Harrison Ford finally got his big star moment because of the success of Star Wars. What he mentioned in the interviews was, okay, Star Wars is a success. Let's get the movie rolls rolling, Let's get into some movies and stuff.
Turned out really well for him.
Yeah, it turned out very well for him with the Expendables.
I didn't get to finish part 3.
It doesn't matter because check this out.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis was asking for too much money. He wanted $3 million, I think, for 3 minutes.
3 minutes?
$3 million for 3 minutes.
$1 million per minute, huh?
And then Sylvester Stallone was like, "Screw you, we're getting Harrison Ford and have him play as the new agent guy." Sylvester Stallone's character, he was asking for Bruce Willis's character. And then Harrison Ford's character told Sylvester Stallone's character that he's out of the picture. Like literally.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, that's all. It sucks, that Harrison Ford is not a stranger to unfortunate events. You just have to drag him along to the drama and backstage dramas.
That's so weird. He did so much in the second movie, Bruce Willis.
What do you think about the alleged affair between 19-year-old Carrie Fisher and
She was 19?
Yes, and 33-year-old Harrison Ford during the 1970s?
That's messed up.
Okay, it is messed up.
That is messed up. I don't have any words for that. Wow.
Harrison Ford actually has a comment for it. When Carrie Fisher dropped the allegation in her memoir, Harrison Ford was tight-lipped when asked about Carrie Fisher's affair allegation. According to RollingStone.com, or Rolling Stones, I may have typed it wrong, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Harrison Ford managed to share a brief thought on the matter during an interview, and he said, "It was strange for me." People in the comments, feel free to distinguish it as how you wish. Maybe there was an affair, I don't know. There are actually rumors of Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher doing it. Here's what I can say though. During Star Wars 5, he was already married. So if it happened during Star Wars 5, it would have been messed up.
Yeah.
But if it was in 4, it's questionable. Because I don't know the marital status of Mark Hamill that time. What do you think about Carrie Fisher's performance now as Peter Griffin's boss in Family Guy?
I had no idea she was in Family Guy, but that's really cool because Peter's such a big fan of Star Wars. Carrie Fisher basically play his boss was ironic. Yeah, but yeah, it was fine. Not necessarily iconic or memorable, but she was a nice character.
It made me so creeped out when Carrie Fisher had to voice as the boss, where the story was the boss wanted Peter to have an infidelity with her.
Okay, I didn't see that episode.
It is messed up.
I've got to check that one out.
Because I'm picturing Carrie Fisher and she wants Peter. Like, bro.
Peter could get a lot of women.
Bro.
Hi, I'm Cherry's girlfriend asking you if it's okay that to check out the description down below and click the link to Cherry's Shopee account. It will really help this channel if you purchase stuff from Cherry's Shopee account. So please take a quick look and don't hesitate to buy some toys, second-hand items, and all sorts of ukay-ukay. Now enough with the plug, let's get back to the video.
Do you admire the Star Wars franchise for previously avoiding bad words?
Yeah, that makes sense. You're in a different galaxy. They shouldn't have the same verbiage that we do nowadays. If you think of it this way, technically, since it's a completely made-up world and whatnot, I guess the writers can put whatever they want in it, and it would make sense, quote-unquote, because it's their own world.
For me, I like they avoid using bad words because it goes back to the teaching of Chili Willy that it gives more emphasis to the words and you get when you're forced to be more creative and you give more meanings to your promos and your
It's just not
language.
being lazy, basically.
Yeah. So for me, the things that were said in the prequels, it felt more important. It felt more iconic and it felt more whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, as compared to what we got, where we have Star Wars, but they're already saying bad words. I'm like, no.
Were they?
Yeah, unfortunately, in the new Star Wars trilogy, they were saying bad words. I remember them saying "damn it" and "bastards,"
Okay. Alright.
and it's just no.
I mean, alright.
It just ruined the mood. But that's just me. That's just me. Do you prefer stormtroopers or clone troopers?
Clone troopers.
For me, I prefer clone troopers because the armors basically are stronger.
They shoot better than the stormtroopers too. They don't miss that often.
Actually, yes.
Yeah, right.
Do you prefer lightsabers or blasters?
Lightsabers. Always. That's why I want to be a Jedi, because of the lightsabers. Not because of the cool powers or whatnot. I just love the lightsabers.
Which do you prefer in terms of movie quality? The practical effects used in 4, 5, and 6, or the CGI approach that they used in 1, 2, and 3?
To be perfectly frank, I'm one of those people that really does feel that as much as possible you should use practical effects and use CGI sparingly because sometimes it doesn't work out that well. If you could use CGI the right way, it will look spectacular, like in a lot of the MCU movies and whatnot. That being said, the Star Wars movies, I think they always had the best blend of practical and CGI. The prequel trilogy had very impressive CGI effects. I might have to go with the CGI effects simply because I felt it made things stand out more with the advanced technology and whatnot.
For me, I prefer practical effects because there's just something about it that makes it real. Would it seem hokey to some people? Sure, maybe. I don't know. I've seen how practical effects was done in Philippine action movies growing up, watching Rudy Fernandez and FPJ, seeing helicopters get blown up in the original action movies in the Philippines. Yeah, I prefer practical. What do you think about Darth Vader?
Probably one of the greatest villains in film history. Who hasn't imitated the "Luke, I am your father"?
That's not what he said.
What did he say?
He said, "No, I am your father."
Okay, my bad.
No, because that's what everybody says.
Yeah.
It's a common misconception.
Yeah.
People have been saying it all the time, but yeah, it's actually, "No, I am your father." But
Okay.
you guys say that Luke, it's because it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because you cannot just say that to a random stranger. You gotta know, the reference.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. But yeah, most iconic villain of all time and the most iconic look of a villain. If you think about it, what villain has been imitated more than Darth Vader, has been cosplayed more than Darth Vader for years and years and years.
That's why I'll be cosplaying as Yoda at Ayala 30th from April 29th to 30th instead of Darth Vader.
Which is ironic because you're too tall to be Yoda.
You hardly see anybody these days cosplay as Yoda, and if they do, they get kids to play as Yoda. But nope, I'll be the tallest Yoda in the planet, and I'll actually give meaning to his race, whatever it is. It was never mentioned.
I thought it was.
It was never mentioned what race is Yoda. As of right now, I'm only aware of 3 of Yoda species in existence. That is Grogu, Yoda, and Yaddle from Phantom Menace. It's been like a mystery. By the way, have you seen how she died?
Was this in the third movie? It was a deleted scene.
It's not a deleted scene.
Okay.
It was brushed on a mini-series by Disney called Tales of a Jedi that focuses on Tales of a Jedi, particularly Count Dooku and Ahsoka Tano. In the episodes concentrating on Count Dooku, we'll see Count Dooku as a master of Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku go on a mission with Mace Windu. Mace Windu being chosen for the council instead of Count Dooku.
Wow, okay, that's interesting.
Because apparently, Mace Windu followed the mission through and through.
Yeah.
While Count Dooku insisted that there should be an investigation done to solve the murder of a certain Jedi. Count Dooku went through with the investigation.
Yeah.
And even if that Count Dooku solved the whole damn thing,
Yeah.
Mace Windu is the one who became the
Oh, no
council
wonder
member.
Dooku was so bitter. And on top of that, his Padawan got killed by Darth Maul. I'd be upset too, you know.
Check this out. Immediately after Qui-Gon died, Count Dooku confronts Sidious about his apprentice Darth Maul killing his Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn. Darth Sidious explains, he lost an apprentice, Count Dooku lost an apprentice, loss is part of the process of becoming a Sith Lord and joining the dark side, yada yada yada. They're cool. Here's the thing though, Yaddle decides to follow Count Dooku as he confronted Sidious, and that's how Yaddle discovered everything. Palpatine is the Sith Lord,
Yeah.
and Count Dooku is the new Sith apprentice
Okay.
and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Yaddle and Count Dooku have a lightsaber duel, and then Yaddle tries her best to bring Count Dooku back to the light side of the Force, but it ends up with Count Dooku dropping the heavy gate on Yaddle, crushing Yaddle, and then Yaddle survives, but ends up getting sliced to death.
Okay.
That's why Yaddle did not attend Qui-Gon's funeral, because she was too busy being dead. Disney Plus has some pretty good shit, but as great as it is to see some closure and whatever, it can get too milked out.
I hear the series is great though, like the Clone Wars series. They're all really great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I hate about Liam Neeson's comeback as Qui-Gon in Obi-Wan is that he came back as a Force Ghost. It defeats the purpose of why he never turned into a Force Ghost.
No, but the thing is, the third movie hinted that he figured out a way to become a Force Ghost. Yoda told Obi-Wan he found a way to communicate.
He did not, it's just really the voice. He didn't complete his training, so he's supposed to be a voice. That's it. He's one with the Force, yes, but his training is incomplete. That's why he never became a Force Ghost. What do you think about C-3PO?
Great character.
What's amazing about C-3PO is that we almost didn't get him the way that we got him. There were so many voice actors and so many other people who were trying to become C-3PO, and it just so happens that the bodysuit actor for C-3PO managed to get the voice. And that's how we got C-3PO. What do you think about R2-D2?
I like that they reintroduced him in the prequel trilogy, and I found it quite funny how they made sure that those characters had no memory moving forward.
That's actually not true. R2-D2 has the memories.
Yeah.
So that means if R2-D2 crossed over with Darth Vader, oh boy, it would have opened a whole can of worms.
Yeah, I just realized, they never did cross over, right?
The
They
only
never
one who
met,
crossed
yeah.
over was C-3PO and Darth Vader. But the thing is, C-3PO was strapped to the back of Chewbacca at that time, and he was dismantled. And C-3PO would have not recognized him
Yeah,
because...
the memory was erased.
and not only that, but he's Darth Vader now.
Exactly.
He doesn't look like Anakin.
Yeah, but I imagine Anakin would have recognized him. It might have made him even more angry.
What do you think about Chewbacca?
Honestly, I didn't like Chewbacca as a kid.
I love Chewbacca.
I didn't like Chewbacca. For some reason, I didn't get Chewbacca. But eventually, as I got older, I appreciated the character more. I think he could have been a great stuffed toy.
I just so happen to have a Chewbacca stuffed toy, and I really love the Chewbacca stuffed toy. It's an amazing stuffed toy. What do you think about the Millennium Falcon?
The Millennium Falcon, I think it speaks for itself. That's obviously the most popular ship in Star Wars lore, right? I didn't see the magic in it as a kid. I always liked the one that Luke used in the end of the movie.
I, for one, somewhat saw the magic in it. I loved the Millennium Falcon, but that's just me. If you were given a chance to be a part of the Star Wars universe, you're in Star Wars 5, what do you see yourself doing?
I wish you didn't say 5 because I always wanted to be a Jedi.
Why can't you be a Jedi in Star Wars 5?
No, because it doesn't make sense for the story. Only Luke can be the Jedi.
Well, we don't have to follow the story. It's because Star Wars 5 is a big universe. Within this big universe, Ezra Bridger's doing something. Kanan Jarrus is doing something. Cal Kestis is doing something. Those are 3 separate Jedi within Star Wars 5 doing their own thing and not show up whatsoever in Star Wars 5.
So if that's the case, I would have liked to have been a rogue Jedi.
You could have been a rogue
I would have
Jedi
liked to have been a rogue Jedi.
and in a completely separate whatever.
Yeah. Hiding around either where Yoda was or whatever, but the point is I would want to be some sort of Jedi.
Okay.
That's what I would want to be.
Honestly, I see myself as some sort of foot soldier, maybe a trooper, not necessarily for the Empire, but just there doing his job. Maybe an Imperial Guardsman, not necessarily for the Empire, but just there doing his job, protecting somebody who needs protecting. Or maybe I can be a Rebel Alliance soldier and fight the Empire straight up, because they're the guys who gets to see action and die almost immediately, basing it completely on Clone Wars. Okay,
that does stink, right? They're doing your job on the Death Star, trying to feed your family and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, somebody blows it up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? You're just doing nothing, just working as a construction worker.
yeah. What do you see in your utility belt?
I would have a purple lightsaber.
So you want to be a guy who can wield the light force but drift along the dark side of the force.
Yes, that's why he's a rogue Jedi. He lost his faith after the Empire became a thing and killed all the Jedis in Order 66.
I like that you mentioned that you're a rogue Jedi, because Ahsoka Tano is just a straight up rogue.
Yeah.
So that's why...
Doesn't she have the gray lightsaber?
No.
She's on the gray side of things, right? And her lightsaber is yellow?
No.
No? It's not yellow? What is it?
First of all, gray Jedis only exist in Star Wars Legends. They are not canon.
Okay,
you will never ever get a gray Jedi in your life.
Okay, sorry.
The fans want it. We do want it. And there are some candidates for gray Jedis, namely Ahsoka Tano, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Mace Windu.
Yeah.
But it's just not happening. It's either the dark or the light. You gotta choose a side. Ahsoka Tano held white lightsabers.
Yeah, okay, fine. Fair enough.
Here's the thing. They were red lightsabers. What she did was she purified the Sith crystals into light crystals.
Okay, that's pretty cool, man.
It is.
Okay, yeah.
There's the closest thing you're gonna get to a gray Jedi.
Yeah.
Red crystals that were turned into white crystals. But I like that you mentioned that you're a rogue Jedi. That means you're still a Jedi.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tano is not a Jedi whatsoever. She's done.
Okay.
That's why she cannot access the Jedi temples. In the Star Wars Rebels series, they had to get a fallen Padawan to open the Jedi temple for her and the fallen Padawan's new apprentice. Do you want any Star Wars inspired clothes?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of nice Star Wars spoof shirts that I really like.
Okay.
Yeah, like anything involving, Chewbacca or Han or even Darth Vader. That's all. Actually, I really want a Mace Windu or Count Dooku spoof shirt, because those are my two favorites, Mace Windu and Count Dooku.
I want Luke Skywalker's yellow jacket from Star Wars 4.
Did he have a yellow jacket in Star Wars 4?
Remember when he got awarded medals at the end of the Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
He wore a yellow jacket and I want it.
Interesting. I better rewatch that. I don't recall.
It was a really nice yellow jacket.
Okay.
It's so disappointing they only wore it once. It was really nice. Okay, now going back, what do you think about the Dagobah system?
It was a different, interesting take because you didn't see something like that in Star Wars before. The fact that there were swamps in that galaxy too was pretty cool. I like this.
Parts of the Dagobah system was filmed in Mark Hamill's swimming pool in his own house.
What? For real?
Yeah, just save a little bit of money.
Okay.
Yeah, it was filmed in his
Yeah,
house.
that's pretty cool. So they made it a swamp basically.
Yeah, it was
Alright.
so gross swimming in there. I like how technology developed because when a similar happening had to happen in a not so recent movie called Jennifer's Body, where they had to have a really messed up swimming pool, you can swim there no problem. It wouldn't taste gross, you wouldn't smell gross, you'd just look gross. Is Luke Skywalker ready to be a Jedi?
Not in the 5th movie.
Do or do not. There is no try. Anyway, we digress. Okay, Luke Skywalker sensed something and felt cold. Yoda told Luke Skywalker that he must go into some sort of cave, but he must not bring weapons because he didn't need them. The problem is that Luke Skywalker brought a blaster and his lightsaber anyway. Luke Skywalker fought Darth Vader and it turned out he was fighting himself. What do you think about Luke Skywalker's journey in Dagobah's domain of evil, as Yoda puts it?
I thought it was an interesting concept where basically he soon found out he was fighting himself. He was fighting his mentality, his point of view, his own belief system and whatnot. And he had to learn to basically let certain things go in order to become a sponge and grow as a student. Because oftentimes when people get into something, they're too stubborn, they're not willing to learn, they think they know it all. So yeah, I guess that's just the whole concept of life in general. You have to be willing to keep learning every day.
What do you think about Luke Skywalker's attitude throughout the training?
I thought he was being stubborn.
For me, I find it a mix of being stubborn and just not being able to grasp the idea or not being able to see the bigger picture. When Yoda insisted not to save the friends, I honestly would have listened to Yoda because Yoda specifically said not to go, and he's a Jedi. He's done this before. So who should I listen to? My feelings or somebody with experience? Obviously somebody with experience. My feelings, it's not attuned yet. I'm not one with the Force, not yet. My training is not done. I'm no Jedi. I do not have any right whatsoever to make decisions. I am young. I'm loaded with hormones. I am obviously very, very sexually active down there. It's not happening. No, just chill and have faith on my friends that they will escape on their own. It's not their first rodeo. They've been through this before. They will be fine. Now, knowing that Luke Skywalker is so damn stubborn, then dude, why not just get in, get out?
You didn't have to confront Darth Vader.
Yeah, just get in, get out. I don't know. Cause a distraction. Keep Vader preoccupied. Put Vader's interest in another thing. Distract him. Cal Kestis. Contact him. Get him to distract Darth Vader for you. Do something. Get this man's attention off your friends. That's what I would do. Anyway, what do you think about Yoda's emphasis on size?
I guess the point of view was, I'm just gonna say size makes a difference no matter what.
Size makes
It does make a difference, okay? It can be a good thing or a bad thing, okay? Depending on the situation. But the point is you can find a way around it.
My opinion is basically mind over matter. That's all I can say. Mind over matter.
Because he doesn't believe. He didn't believe.
He didn't
and It's
believe.
a normal part of training.
What do you think about Darth Vader using Skywalker's friends as bait?
Made perfect sense. You have to lure him in somehow.
You remember that scene? The guy was pulling Leia when she was telling him it was a trap? That was the original body actor for Boba Fett. George Lucas did not expect how famous Boba Fett would get, so he ended up making Boba Fett come back for the sequel, Star Wars Episode 6, and let the Boba Fett merchandise fly. Among the merchandise that flew was Boba Fett's controversial spaceship called Slave One. So my question for you is, what do you think about Disney's effort to avoid calling the Slave One as the Slave One? Because apparently Slave One is racist.
What? How is slave... What? Slave one is racist?
Yes, because black slavery.
Oh, okay.
And, slavery in general is bad.
Yeah, it is. Slavery in general is bad. Yeah.
So that's why they've been avoiding, calling it the slave one. They've been calling it by its type or its category or whatever, but outright just stop calling it slave one.
Okay, well, I didn't know.
But it is the slave one, okay? It's still the slave one, but they just avoided calling it slave one.
Yeah.
For me, I find the avoidance weird. That's really it.
I don't know, man. I mean, I guess if people find racist, okay. I don't know.
I mean, like, okay, you're watching Star Wars, and then you see the slave one, but they're calling it something else. Whether if it's justified or not, I don't know. I don't care. Anyway, if there is a slave one, is there a slave 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6?
There's a one. I'd imagine there's bound to be 2 or 3, right?
What do you think about Cloud City?
Look nice. Look really nice.
Well, I didn't like Cloud City so much. It's because it's a ripoff
Of?
Flash Gordon.
Yeah, but everything takes influence from others.
It's like a straight up ripoff.
Terry, so what? Darth Vader was basically a ripoff of Doctor Doom. But I don't know. I mean, again, I wasn't into Flash Gordon as a kid, so I wouldn't know.
The look and the
I
setting.
wouldn't know. I didn't watch Flash Gordon.
That's my opinion. I didn't like it because
Okay.
it was just too copy paste. The only thing different between Cloud City there and Cloud City in Star Wars is that the stuff inside and whatever.
Oh, yeah.
There it was medieval, but in here no, it was futuristic. George Lucas was more creative. He should have added more originality and put more creativity to the exterior and the interior rather than just the interior. Lando Calrissian, what do you think about him?
I love this character, man. I love this whole path of redemption because, basically he lost himself throughout that movie, right? Because he turned Han over to the Empire.
Okay.
And then he found a way to redeem himself. Then he saw that his friend was getting tortured and suffering and whatnot. It was a great character, and the fact that they gave him a big moment in the 6th film, awesome. And Billy D. Williams is so cool, man. He was really such a cool actor, man.
He was pretty chill.
Yeah.
Do you think that responsibility is the price people pay for being successful?
You don't have to be responsible to be successful.
Because that's what that's
better if you are, but there are lots of people who are huge successes who are irresponsible.
because that's what Lando
Oh, yeah.
Calrissian said.
I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Lando Calrissian was a smuggler,
Yeah.
gambler, and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then he
Is this-
became
yeah.
the leader, per se, of Cloud City. And he took up on so much responsibility.
Yeah.
And then that's what Han Solo mentions. And then Lando said is that responsibility is the price you pay for being successful.
But the thing is, in that point of view, the higher up you get, the more you have to do. That's the truth. Yeah.
What do you think about Luke Skywalker's rescue? Did it make any difference whatsoever with the outcome?
Yeah, it did. He wouldn't have been able to save Leia. Leia would have been in deep trouble if he didn't show up, right? But maybe Lando would have found a way to get them out on his own. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe that's what Yoda sensed too. Maybe that's why I told him, don't go. It won't make a difference. Because Lando was there to help out. Yeah, wow. So basically, if he never went, they would have all escaped anyways, and he wouldn't have gotten his hand chopped off.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Lando Calrissian's team managed to fix the hyperdrive, but Vader's team managed to deactivate the hyperdrive before Chewie could use it. Chewie blamed Lando Calrissian for the hyperdrive not working during the escape.
Yeah.
What do you think about this scene?
Chewie was obviously emotional because he betrayed all of them.
I think that it was an unfair judgment of Lando Calrissian.
It was the heat of a moment, man. They were all upset. They were all about to get killed. He handed them to the Empire, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, of course he was upset. It was understandable.
What do you think about Lando Calrissian going through Han Solo's closet and dressing up exactly like Han Solo at the end of the movie?
There's a symbolism to that he felt some regret and whatnot, over what he did.
I feel that it's sort of okay because you two are supposedly best friends, so I guess you can share each other's clothes. He didn't have a suitcase full of clothes, so
he
what did he
wore it.
do?
Okay,
He wore his
fair
clothes.
enough.
That's really it.
Alright.
That's really it. Okay, overall, do you have a rating for Star Wars 5? The Empire Strikes Back.
To me, that's the most iconic and the best film in the Star Wars franchise. I don't care what anyone says, that's the best one. Because of all the memorable moments and whatnot. If I were to rate it out of 10, a 9.8.
I actually agree with you because I did mention that I had reservations about it being the best because Star Wars 6, it's my baby. I loved
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then I rewatched Star Wars 6 recently, and then I watched Star Wars 5 before this podcast, and like, yeah, this is much better. Yeah, it
right.
had more locations, and it had more technology, and it had more drama and
Yeah.
stuff, and the iconic door carbonite. Yeah,
Yeah.
Star Wars 5 is the best amongst all the movies.
Yeah, because it built on what the first one did, made it bigger, and left you excited for the next one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
For me, maybe Star Wars 6 would have been a better contender if they went through with the original plan to introduce the Wookiees.
The Wookiees? Ah, yeah, that would have been nice. Instead, they went with the Ewoks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. The Ewoks, I liked them as a kid, but when you get older, like, oh, this is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
The
I
older you
agree.
get, they're like, nah, that's lame. When I was a kid.
Empire Strikes
Okay.
Back is 5 out of 5 or 11 out of 5.
It's a great film.
It is
Okay, yeah,
the
okay.
greatest film. Yes, that's
Yeah.
my rating for Star Wars Episode
You
5,
could just
Empire
watch it
Strikes
over
Back.
and over again too. You know, it's a really great film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Cloud City buzzkill didn't bother me as much, but it is a buzzkill. That's our rating for Star Wars 5 Empire Strikes Back. It is an amazing film.
Long-winded discussion.
It was pretty long, yeah.
Yeah.
This might actually be the longest podcast I've
felt
had
it, man. Wow.
in a long time.
Yeah.
This might be the longest. Anyway, moving on. On April 30 and April 29, I'll be at Ayala 30th for Ozine 2023. I'm going to be so excited to check it out. I'm going to cosplay as Yoda. Don't be a stranger. Please say hello. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cherry Show, for more of the madness and podcasts. Thank you, Classical Brian Leo, for being in my podcast. This was awesome.